were mine. We played hide and seek for hours, raised our shadows among the pines. So offshore, playful and free.
Hi friends, welcome back to the Homestead. If you're new here, my name is Lynn. Welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. And yes, we're back. Quick trip to Maine to have my dad's celebration of life. Thank you to all of you who sent me very amazing messages over the last really 11 months. My dad passed last September, but we weren't able to have a celebration of life until last weekend. We put him in the veterans plot beside his parents, my grandmother and grandfather. My grandmother we lost just not quite 3 weeks before my dad last year, so it's been a rough year. And it was a beautiful service. I think Daddy would have approved. It was a rough day, but we got through it as we usually do as a family. But again, thank you all for your wonderful, kind words. It meant a lot to me. And before we get to today's preserving project, because yes, we're back preserving for Every Bit Counts Challenge, I made a huge mistake on my last video when we did the cranberry kidney beans. This is classic, Lynn. You're doing way too much. Your brain's going in a million miles a direction, a million miles every way. You're trying to do too much and you make a mistake. I misspoke. It's not 55 minutes for pint jars of kidney beans to be pressure canned. It's 75 minutes, which I did end up stopping my pressure canners and reprogrammed them for the 75 minutes, but I don't want you all to be doing that on the wrong time. It's typical Lynn. I tried to do too much and I was doing too many things. We were getting ready to leave. My eulogy that I was going to be reading was on my mind for the celebration of life for my dad. And it was just like, I was trying to do too much before we left, and it was classic. And I know better. And I'm gonna do it again because I've done it many, many times before. I'm trying to get better at it, but yes, please note that it was 75 minutes for those pint jars, not 55. That's why we're only doing one thing today. I actually have 4 or 5 things I wanted to do, and I'm like, nope, we're pressure canning today. It's not a hard recipe, but I want to make sure I get everything right and just kind of ease back in. My garden, David and I were out in the garden yesterday for like a half hour or more, just picking. I got a whole nother medium quart size freezer bag of yellow beans in the freezer. We'll be freeze drying them soon. The elderberries I got, I'm gonna put a picture up right here. And that's not even counting the 3 containers I have in the freezer already of elderberries that I picked before we left. I'm done picking. Whatever's left, the birds are going to enjoy because I have more than I need. A lot of elderberries. Wonderful thing to be grateful for, the abundance we did get, because y'all know it's been a rough summer. But guess what? It's been raining since yesterday. Woo, woo. So happy. The sprinklers are off. The rain has come in. The cooler weather has also come in, which kind of is why we are canning what we are canning today. The cooler weather just makes me think of fall and all the yummy things we love to eat. And one of those things we love to eat is soup. Love soup. So we're getting into soup mode here today, and we're going to be pressure canning taco soup. It's one of our favorites. We actually had some yesterday for lunch. I think I have 1 jar from last fall that I did, and that's it. So we need to get more on the shelf. Lots of soup coming over the next couple of days, and we're going to be pressure canning that, if I didn't already say that, which I think I did, because that is a pressure canning recipe because very low acid, and there's meat in this. Now, the recipe I am going to be using is loosely based, I swear I do follow recipes sometimes, on this pressure canning cookbook. I will link it down below. This is an amazing recipe book for pressure canning. Has really good recipes, lots of tips. It's by, I never can remember her name, Angie Schneider. So highly recommend it. It's a really good pressure canning cookbook. And she uses ground beef in her taco soup. We're going to be using chicken. One, because I have a lot of chicken that I had cooked up and froze weeks ago because I had planned on canning chicken, but I said, okay, we're just going to save it for the soup because I do still have some canned chicken still on my shelf that I did last fall, so we're not low on that yet. And the tomatoes are finally coming in, and these ripened while we were gone, and it's the exact amount I need for this recipe, so someone's looking out for me. And I'm not adding beans because, one, I don't have any fresh beans to add to this, but I have lots of black beans canned. So when I open a can of this taco soup, I will just add a pint of my black beans I already have canned. But you could absolutely add beans to this. You would have to soak them for the 12 hours, drain them, and then parboil them for only about 5 minutes because they're going to continue cooking in the pressure canner. So you don't want them all mushy. But like I said, I already have a bunch canned, so we're just going to add it when we go to eat it. And other than that, everything else is pretty much the same except for, I thought there was one, oh, diced onion. My onions are still not quite ready. I think I have a couple that will be, but David's not a fan of onions. If you're new here, David's not a fan of onions. If you've been here before, you know, David is not a fan of onions. So we're not going to be adding them. But other than that, everything else will be the same. I am going to be, she uses pint jars, but this 1.5 pints is the perfect portion for David and I to have a bowl of soup with a sandwich for lunch or supper. So I like to do them in the 1.5 pints, and we will just use quart size jar pressure canning time to can these. And the recipe calls for 14 pints. I have 7.5 pints. We'll see. Do I have 7? Yes, I have 7 here. We'll see how many we get. So first thing we have to do is we have to dice up all these tomatoes. So you're going to need 4 pounds of diced tomatoes. I have a mix here. It's a little over 4 pounds. Even the recipe says you need a little bit over 4 pounds to get to the 4 pounds eventually. So I have the black Krim tomatoes, and they're quite beautiful. I have the Opaca that I planted from in my gardener, and I have been saving quite a few of these as they've been ripening. I've been chopping them up and throwing them in my Ziploc bag into the freezer so I can puree them and freeze dry them soon. And I have to say, they're amazing. They taste great, but there is hardly any seeds, and they're not very watery. So very good variety. I'm happy with that. And then we have some brandy wines that I also got from in my gardener. So we're going to use a variety because that's what I have enough of. So, oh my goodness, that tomato is gorgeous. Look at this. I've never grown black Krim. I saw one for sale when we were out getting different things at a couple of the greenhouses, and I thought those sound interesting. So I planted one, and I'm actually going to taste one right now. They're okay. Maybe that one wasn't ripe enough. They're not very tomatoey tasting, if that makes sense. So if you don't like a strong tomato, you probably will like these. So yeah, I'm just going to dice these up, and I have a bowl here to put them in. We'll get these all done, and then we'll go on to the next step. In my big stock pot, I have 10 cups of liquid. So we have 6 cups-ish of chicken broth. Some is my freeze-dried chicken broth I added to water, and then I had another pint of chicken broth from last year that I found on my shelves. So I put that in there, and then I added 4 more cups of water. So we have 10 cups of chicken broth plus water in here. Now we're going to add all of our tomatoes. And I have 3 pounds of chicken breast, just a second. Just a little bit over 2 pounds, like 2 pounds, 3 ounces. And I'm gonna put that in there. So that was like 3, not quite 3 chicken breasts, because I have used some of the chicken for a few other things, or 3 whole chickens that I have roasted, but I did use some of the chicken. Okay, and then we're gonna add 2 quarts of canned corn that I canned up. You could use fresh too. I just don't have any right now because I've canned it or freeze-dried it all. And I'm adding the liquid along with it because I just think it adds flavor, and basically it's just water anyway. So, and then we're going to add our spices. So, 2 tablespoons of chili powder. And I'm going to put, so that's half a tablespoon, 1 whole tablespoon of garlic powder. This is freeze-dried garlic that I just powdered up, or you could use 10 cloves of minced garlic. And I'm also going to add some salt, but not as much as her recipe calls for. I do find her recipes do tend to be a little bit on the salty side, for us anyway. like very salty, a lot of her recipes. So she says 2 tablespoons. That is way too much. I find that too much. So I'm going to put 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons. You can always add salt to it when we heat it up. So we're just gonna let this simmer for a half hour. Our soup is done. It smells delicious. So we need to leave 1 inch headspace, and then I will debubble, check my headspace again, wipe my rims off with my clean cloth I have here, make sure my lids stick. And I also mentioned, I forget, I always go around and check all my jars. I find the best way is just put my finger around, and if you feel any chips or dings, you're gonna feel them when you do this, and make sure they're okay. Most of these are new, but that doesn't mean anything because I bought a whole case of new, 2 whole cases of new 1.5 last summer. And yeah, I think out of the, how many are in a box? Out of the 12 I bought, I think 4 of them were all broke, and because I could not find my receipt, the store would not take them back. So yeah, make sure you keep your receipts too. You want to try and get as much of the chicken, equal parts chicken in each jar. It can be hard to do. I do my best. I try to get three big scoops of chicken and then fill it in with the tomatoes and the broth, but there's a lot of chicken in here. I think we're going to be okay. Using my electric pressure canners today because it's just easier. I'll probably be using my traditional pressure canner when I do up a big batch of baked beans, possibly this week. I don't know. But so I have 4 jars in here and 3 in the other one. And I'm gonna do this for 90 minutes, which is what you would do for quarts. A soup season is off to a great start. 7 1.5 jars of taco soup on our shelf. I hope to get a few more done before winter. I tend to can year round, but it would be nice to take a little bit of a break off for a bit with everything that's going to be happening over the next few weeks, and I'll tell you more about that later. Also, some news I hinted about, oh my goodness, a couple of months ago. I'm almost ready to share that with you all, so make sure you hit the notification button so you know when new videos come out and when I'm finally going to let you all in on the big secret I've been keeping. Until then, friends, take care, God bless, and we'll see you all soon.